cowboy. It's a ginger grizzly bear with a super palate. Cigar Loons, invaders of the cigar world. Grumpy preacher, the conspiracy theory expert. Cigar Loons Podcast, come and join us. Vitola and proof expert on all things spirits. Tobacco G Sticks, director of special operations. Cigar Loons Podcast, we are the invaders of the cigar world. Cigar Kurt, the front porch cowboy. As a ginger grizzly bear with a super palate. Cigar Loons, invaders of the cigar world. Grumpy preacher, the conspiracy theory expert. Cigar Loons Podcast, come and join us.
And good evening, of course. We are the Cigar Loons, and we're live, of course, from England and, of course, the United States. And with me tonight are my fellow co-hosts, of course, Tobacco G Sticks. We've got, of course, Cigar Kurt, Vitola and Proof. And also, we've got deep down there in the Florida Panhandle, we've got, of course, Mr. Grumpy Preacher, our other co-host. And, of course, tonight's episode, we're going down that rabbit hole again. So it's the rabbit hole part 2. And of course, we're all in our nice little tinfoil hats. And of course, Kurt's pulled out a banger of a hat tonight. So, Kurt, what was the inspiration for your hat, my brother? Just look at that.
Well, it's a loon. It's a loon. So we are cigar loons, and often we are associated with skulls and death and all this other stuff, but there is an actual bird that's a loon, and that's another aspect, that's another facet of our gem here, the loon.
Kudos to the creator, because I know who did that.
My lovely wife made that for me today while I was at work.
Yes, she did.
And me, I just got out the tinfoil and wrapped it around me big old noggin. And that's why I've got this on my head. But hey, hell. So of course,
I can see that.
We know.
I came today from work, so I don't have one.
Yeah. Well,
It's all right, brother. It ain't a requirement.
no. To be honest with you, this ain't gonna be staying on my head much longer because I'm sweating my balls off here in the UK. Like I say, 75% Fahrenheit, 75 in Fahrenheit, and 88% humidity. At least we can't cope in England with this weather. But yeah, so of course, we know on the first podcast that we did of the rabbit hole, of course, we went down a lot of different sectors. And we did say we'd be back with part 2. So, of course, to start off the show, is the Earth round or flat? And I'm going to play this quick intro. So, of course, as you've just seen now, is the Earth flat or round? So, Grumpy, is the Earth flat or round, my brother?
Well, as far as we could actually say both, but as far as the conversation goes as to whether is it flat or is it that blue marble that's spinning through space, it's flat. It ain't a blue marble spinning through space.
Mm.
Boy, that was crickets quick, wasn't it? Don't be afraid. I don't bite. You know,
no, you
I
know
don't bite.
It's interesting. It's interesting because You think we all say, of course, it's round, but how do we know it's round? Because the certain fact is, we've been shown through media, through television, you name it, that it's always
Yep.
been that round aspect. But of course, if you look into history when the sailors were going, especially like Christopher Columbus said it was flat. You look at, of course, at the Bible, of course, Noah's Ark, the earth was flat. So, of course, how do we know if it is flat or if it's round? And, of course, just before we started, Kurt brought up some great information that I didn't know about the states. And go on, Kurt, what was that information, my brother, that you just brought up?
Well, I was just doing a little research this week, trying to wrap my head around this whole concept. And one of the facts that I discovered, they say that in the United States, there are 6.5 million people that believe the Earth is flat. I mean, they have conventions and weekends, and there's a whole groups of them, and so yeah, it's there's quite a, and we got one of them here tonight. So
Yep.
I beg your pardon. I've never been to a flat Earth convention. Ain't never been to one.
But you are a
Thank
flat
you.
earth believer.
Thank you, but I am, yes.
So, of course, with that then, and we know we've seen it in different TV shows. We've seen it, of course, in The Simpsons as well, especially in the Simpsons film that we saw. And, of course, we went on about The Simpsons being right on a lot of stuff, what they've proven, of course, with Trump becoming president, of course, about COVID, different things. Do you reckon we are under a giant sphere? So we've got, of course, a dome over us. Because many people say that there's a dome underneath us. And you can walk straight out into the middle of the desert and you hit something and you can't go no further. Do you reckon that's true? Or do you reckon it's a little bullshit? Because there is studies to say there's people who've been out in the desert, they've hit something, and they haven't been able to go no further.
I mean, if you're gonna go by what that great book is all about, then yeah, there's a firmament. I've never seen it, so I can't say 100% is there. But if you believe in what the book says, then yeah, there is a firmament. And there's been, numerous times where, politicians and stuff and have at one point or another referenced the firmament, in certain interviews and press conference and stuff like that. So maybe they do know something that we don't know, or at least seen something that we haven't seen,
Well,
Kate, what do you reckon on that? Well, let's go Grumpy. Grumpy, what do you reckon about?
Oh no,
the sphere?
I was just gonna say, with just what Jess was talking about there, with the firmament and all that. Do we live in a dome? Okay, yeah, there you go. I mean, what better person to ask or reference to than the one who created it? I mean, I was going to save that for if it was needed. I was just going to go down the common sense trail. But you know me, and you know how I believe. And that goes all the way around to my thing about NASA and everything else. But I won't hear, let Kurt go. I mean, we got all night.
Okay, it's okay.
I want to get Kurt in here too.
Well, I do not think it's true. There's too much math and science that I believe has proven that it's round. And when you think about when they say the models that I saw, they say the Earth is flat. They have the North Pole smack dab in the middle, and then the continents spread out from there. But then they say that all the way around the edge of the Earth is the South Pole, and there's these giant 100-mile thick ice walls that keeps the ocean in from flowing over. And to me, I'm like, I can't even imagine that. And then they say that with the dome or the sphere, that the sun and the moon are actually in there, but with that sphere, they're actually not that far away, and the sun is really much smaller than we think it is. It's just too far of a reach for me.
Well, let's look at the track record here, though. Okay, almost everything that you see, well, that you read in the Bible and stuff like that, like a lot of that stuff is completely unbelievable things that you would be like, how, right? You wouldn't believe it if someone just told you. So that kind of lines up right with everything else in that side, and then science is the opposite. Science wants to tell you that everything in that book is wrong. So I don't know.
There's a lot of conflicting stuff out there, isn't there? When you look at it, of course, is it flat? Is it round? Is there a sphere? And all the rest over the planet. But what do you reckon, Matthew? What's your take on this about flat Earth or round Earth? And is there a dome that's over us?
Well, I don't know. I think there's too many things. Like, humans have left the Earth, and we've seen, all you gotta do is turn around and look. Yeah, absolutely. The space station is there.
Right, but if you look at you could ask it, or you could look it up. The station and the satellites and everything up there that is up there right now, it's not in outer space. It's in
no, it's not because it's in our orbit. Yeah, that's because outer space doesn't start until after that. But that doesn't. I mean, there are things that are outer space that come by every once in a while, like Halley's Comet and things like that. And I believe that that math that Kurt was bringing up has made it so we can predict things like that, and they've been very accurate. Now, I'm not somebody who says science is everything either. I believe in God. I believe in, the Bible is God's word too. But I think there's too much. There's too much evidence that supports the round Earth to me, but it's always interesting to hear other things, and I'm never going to insult somebody for believing a certain way.
Yeah, that's the thing. Something. Me personally, like I say, it's conflicting. It's conflicting with what you read, and everyone's got their own say on it. Of course, yes, people believe it's flat. Yes, people believe it's round. Yes, people believe, of course, there's a dome on it. Now, of course, what do you reckon about the whole thing of us living and we're all in a computer program? Because you've heard it before. There's videos out there that show a dog standing, taking a waz, and this dog stands there for an extra 10 minutes, just frozen. Then all of a sudden restarts the program again. And of course they call it the Matrix. Do you reckon we're living in a Matrix, or do you reckon there's it could be one of them things? Because
how would you know if you
there's
were
evidence
in the Matrix?
out there.
If we're all plugged in right now, how would we even know?
That's the thing. There's that many different videos, and of course, I watch a shitload of these kind of videos. Jack Osborne, the Osbornes did a series, and it was showing this as well. And of course, Do the Osbornes Believe, the TV program was. And they were showing, of course, the dog, showing, of course, a couple of people where they froze. Then all of a sudden they started back, they kicked back in. And basically, if I saw somebody stop in the middle of the street and then they kick back in after, that's probably drugs here in the UK, because everyone's near enough on drugs, especially where I live anyway. And the drugs can do that kind of stuff to you. As we know in America, of course, with the whole fentanyl that goes on, but that's a different matter. But you look at it and you think, how can there be this evidence? Because we keep seeing these videos of different things, and it's a weird thing when you see them. But of course, let's just go back over the Earth flat or round, and let's kind of debunk it. So, of course, Matthew, flat or round?
I still say round, but
Okay. Jess, flat or round, my brother?
Man, I've never really came up with a decision, just because I just don't know. I have no clue.
It's all good, man.
So,
Honest answer. It's
You
all
know,
good.
I read the book. I grew up with the book, but at the same time, just like everybody else, you look at the science, you look at the evidence, and so I really just don't have a clue. I don't know.
But ask yourself.
okay, Kate, round or flat?
Round or whatever you want to call it, a globe shape. So yeah, I'm in that camp.
Grumpy. So that's 2 votes. Grumpy, round or flat, my brother?
It's flat.
So that's so me. I don't know. Like I say, so I think on this one we've kind of debunked it. It's a round spinny little thing. So that one's been debunked for tonight. But of course, there's plenty of other times we can go back down this avenue and find out, of course.
Oh yeah.
Things. I know you disagree in Grump, but kind of debunking it, my brother. And of course, 2 of the brothers say round. Me, I just don't know, because I've read that many different things. I have. So
Well, we didn't get too many things to consider and think about, but that's okay.
Well, if you want to go down it and enlighten us more, then of course we can go down that. Because no. I just want to toss a couple of things out there, okay,
Good.
Right, bro.
and then we'll move right along. I just want to toss a couple of things out for thought. If you're on a spinning ball, you go out there at night, and stars shouldn't be in the same place they are. But every night you go out there, that North Star's in that same place. That Big Dipper is in that same place. That Little Dipper in that same place. If we're spinning, that ain't happening. Pour water on any ball. Pour water on it and see what happens. It won't stick to it. Gravity is nothing but a theory that hasn't been proven. I'll argue against gravity with the simple word of density. This is going to fall because it's more dense than the air that's around it. People call it gravity. I call it density. But just a little food for thought. Now, right on. Let's go to that next topic.
So, of course, you'll know there's tonight the Cigar Loons, of course. We sit, we smoke cigars. Tonight, of course, I'm not. So I'm enjoying my beer, of course, tonight. I'm just having a break away from it for tonight. But what cigars have you guys pulled out? So, of course, let's go straight down to Grumpy and start with Grumpy. So, Grumpy, what cigar have you pulled out tonight, my bro?
Well, I had my foot band. I took it off, but it's the Untitled Berserker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Raymond Page's. It's
So what? So what's the
Isn't it a
wrapper
Cigar
binder and
Page
the filler?
exclusive?
that's a Nicaraguan Habano Oscuro wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and filler. It's a Nicaraguan puro.
Very nice.
It is. It's a good cigar too. It's very flavorful. All the right stuff.
Okay.
Chocolate and coffee and woo-hoo. A little spicy.
So we'll go over to, of course, Flash there, which being Matthew. So Matthew, what cigar have you pulled out tonight, brother?
I have the Punch Knuckle Buster Maduro.
Good one.
Nice. Very nice.
It's one of my favorite, like, not super expensive cigars. Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Indonesian binder, Nicaraguan filler. It's got those sort of cocoa and coffee notes, and it's just really nice, and it always hits right.
Mm-hmm.
And I have,
It is
of
a
course,
good
Whiskey
one.
Tube. So
What's
thank
up,
you to
Tube?
Whiskey Tube for tuning in. Of course,
How you doing, buddy?
hello to everyone from Rumble, and of course, hello to everyone that is watching us on Instagram. So, of course, Evil Empire. Of course, Bearded Monkey 440. Hannah, of course, that's watching us. So we thank you for all tuning in and watching the Cigar Loons tonight. And like we say, please like and subscribe because it does help us when you keep smashing that like button and keep subscribing. So we do thank you for that. So, of course, we'll go to Jess and then we'll go, of course, over to Kurt with his cigar. So, Jess, what cigar have you pulled out tonight, brother?
I have here the Rocky Patel DBS, and
yeah,
this is a DBS is for double broadleaf, right? And so it's got a Nicaraguan and Ecuadorian Connecticut broadleaf filler. Then he has a Nicaraguan and U.S. Pennsylvania broadleaf as a binder, and then the wrapper is a Mexican San Andreas. And for all of that broadleaf in here, really, it's really, really mild. Usually I would have a broadleaf with a bourbon or some sort of whiskey, but this one is so mild that I'm actually just having it with a beer because it goes perfect with it.
Yeah, I've had that cigar before and I enjoyed it when it very first came out. Of course, we all know DBS is also an Aston Martin car, and they thought it could have been around Aston Martin, which it's not. And it's not a bad cigar that Rocky's put together. Not a bad cigar whatsoever. But let's go over, of course, to Cigar Kit. So, Kit, of course, what cigar have you got tonight, my brother? And tell us about what you've done with that cigar.
Oh, before I talk about my cigar, I just want to. You said hello to everyone that was watching us. I just want to make it a point. If someone's watching us and this is their first time watching us, we all don't sit here with tinfoil hats and birds on our heads every week. So this is a special treat for you. Just putting that out there. So when we had our infused episode last month, you guys inspired me. So I said I was going to take a cigar and I was going to infuse some orange and vanilla into it. So I did that. I got some pure vanilla extract. I put it in an isolated Tupperware in a little cup, and then I got some cold pressed food grade orange oil. Put that in a little separate cup, and I let this baby soak it up for 2 weeks. Took it out and put it in my another isolated humidor, where it was really, it really soaked it up. It really smelled strong. It was wet. I would say probably the humidity was well over 75% in it. So I left it in there for another week, let the humidity get back down. The humidor for the last 3 days been sitting at 66% in there. So I decided to smoke it tonight. It's burning well. I can taste the orange. I get a little bit of vanilla, but it's surprisingly, it's more spicier than I thought it was going to be. And it's not sweet at all. So that's something that intrigues me. I like an occasional little fat bottom Betty, or that's sweet, but this is not sweet, and I really like that. But I do get that orange, that dominant orange flavor, and some spice, maybe like an anise spice. It's just very unique spice, and then just a little bit of vanilla in there. So I'm smoking through it here, and I might try some more of these with some other stuff.
Yeah, so, of course, what's the makeup of the cigar kit from? Of course, the filler, the binder, and the wrapper.
Well, this cigar. This is an undisclosed cigar. I think it's I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it's Nicaraguan in the filler, and the binder is, I can't remember the binder. The wrapper, is it San Andreas?
Yep.
Mexican San Andreas.
Yep, it is. So
yeah, and I think maybe that's where it's accentuating the spice that I'm tasting, that Mexican San Andreas wrapper.
Yeah, and then of course Whiskey Tubes said, of course they've seen the tinfoil hats before, and then of course Whiskey Tube has just put, I didn't infuse any cigars. I'm smoking an Arturo Fuente Don Carlos Personal Reserve. Great cigar. I've smoked a couple of the Don Carlos Personal Reserve, and I can't say a bad word against that cigar. It's on my list. It's not on my top 10 list, but it's definitely on the list, of course. So we know, of course, it's warm. So I'm sorry, guys, but my head, holy moly! Just look at the red on there. Where I'm thinking, oh. Trust me, this turkey's baked. Gobble gobble. Holy shit!
Chicken's done.
Lord.
You should have packed some ice cubes in there. A little Ziploc bag with some ice cubes.
Hey, there you go.
Oh,
That was an idea.
That's better. Cool me down with the beer. Oh yeah. So of course, next topic. This we're gonna go down. The stone theory. Do you reckon there's, when you pass away, you stay in the stone of the house, and basically, if people see you, for instance, as a ghost, because you're in the stone therapy route, you are still living that past memory because it's stuck in stone. And there's been a lot of research into it. There's when people have passed away, certain events, so of course now, say for instance I'm talking to you guys, and I pass away as I'm talking to you, that memory will be stuck in stone. And then if someone carries on living, if I'm haunting the house, that's a memory that's carried on playing of me talking to you. That's the stone therapy technique. Now, do you reckon that could happen, where that does play out, or do you reckon this is something different? Because there's a lot of studies around ghosts. I've done a lot of ghost hunting. I've used a lot of different apps. I use, of course, Ghost Talker. I use a musical box that goes off on pressure. I use SLS cameras. You name it. I use a lot of different ghost hunting techniques. And we've had names brought up. We've, of course, caught stick figures on the SLS. And we've heard stuff going over past events, of course. And it's like Whiskey Tubes just put here, of course, in their comment. I think a ghost is just a recording of past events that just happens. And this is the thing on the stone theory technique. It's basically, it's a past event that carries on happening. So do you reckon that is the case of when you pass, is you all living out the same event, or maybe not? What do you reckon on that? So, of course, Jess, we'll go with you on this one first, my brother.
Well, first I want to say that I do believe in, I'm not going to say ghosts, but I do believe in spirits.
Yep.
Okay. Now, when you die, You know, the only thing that I can really go off of is, you know, the book, you know, and you obviously don't go to heaven right away when you die. That's not what happens.
Mhm.
But in that place that they're in right now, stuck waiting for heaven, are they replaying it? I don't know. Maybe, or maybe they're replaying, a really good time in their life, not their death, but it's possible. I mean, I don't know.
Whiskey Chiefs just put another comment that, of course, I just want to read out before we move over, of course. And we'll get on to Matthew next on this. I do know we are 99% energy, and energy never dies. It just transforms into another form of energy. Which, when you think of that, it's crazy. 99% of energy, and of course, energy never dies. And you think if that energy is still around, that could be energy of we're still living out that stone therapy thing. So, of course, Matthew, what's your take on the stone therapy and basically of us, of course, living past events as, say, i.e., a spirit or i.e., a ghost? What do you reckon on that, my brother?
So I kind of think there could be multiple things happening there. I think that some things happen and they're either so joyous and wonderful or so horrific that moment in time gets stuck in that place and it replays over and over again. And then I also think that, a person can die and have too much left undone. And they can get kind of stuck. I go back and forth on the whole topic of souls and whatnot, but I definitely think that both of those things could be happening.
Yeah.
And sorry, I had to have a change of venue because it was looking like it was about to open up the gates of hell above me.
Well, at least you're in a safe place, my brother, and you're not going to get wet. That's the main thing. But we'll go up, of course, to Cigar Gate, and then we'll go down, of course, our resident grumpy preacher. So, what do you reckon on this with past events reliving through stone therapy, or what's your take on it, bro?
Well, before I get into that, you guys, for whatever reason over there with I guess your lengthy history or how long, people have lived in your area of the world, you have a lot of experiences with ghosts, and I know you're into that. And so I believe, that you're really experiencing some stuff over there, but I have not experienced any of that in my life. But and without going down too far down the religious path, it goes kind of hand in hand with it for me. So I think I have to mention it. So I believe that if you renounce or that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, you are going to go to heaven no matter what you've done in your life. You've asked for forgiveness, and you're going to be allowed to go to heaven. But I think the spirit or the soul or whatever you want to refer to it as, I think that sometimes for a period of time, I think when you get there that you have a choice whether you want to go right into the kingdom. And I don't necessarily believe in reincarnation. I don't know if I do or not, but you hear stories of, people, have been kings in the past or whatever. So I don't know where I am on that, but I do believe that there is some choice as far as your soul or spirit has, whether you want to resolve some issues here, or if you just want to move on. So that, I guess that's where I am on that. So I do think that there are some choices, and I think that's part of the reason that we experience that. And especially you over there, Gaz, with your ghost experiences that you've had and paranormal experiences. If that makes sense.
Something. Yeah, if you look at reincarnation anyway, of course, basically Sikhs and Indians, of course, they do believe in reincarnation. Of course, coming back is either a sacred animal or basically something different. Of course, when we say a little bit of deja vu, we've just had a deja vu moment. Of course, what that relates to sometimes is as we've been here before. And that's a crazy thing, which that's going to lead into one of the next topics, of course, that we're going to go down. But on this one, with, of course, the stone therapy thing of ghost sniffing, Grump, what's your take on what? Go on, okay,
I got one more thing real quick I want to add. And I will tell you that my views, I'll be 56 here next month. So my views and my thoughts and my thinking patterns have changed as I've gotten older and I get closer to the end of my life. I don't necessarily want to call it wisdom, but life experience. And when you get to this age, you kind of start thinking towards, you think a little different. And we've got all age groups here. So everyone's on their own path in different areas of their life and different, times in their life. So I think as you get older, you start contemplating more of that. At least I do.
Yeah, something. And of course, we know you've got plenty more years left in your kids. It's not the end of you. Even though you're turning 56. Of course, my brother.
I'm not saying that. This may be my last podcast, guys. No, I'm not saying nothing like that. But just in general, as you get older, and you experience more things in life, and I just.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I completely understand it. Because I think way differently now than I did 20 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's go down to our resident Mr. Grumpy Preacher. So, Grump, what's your take on, of course, stone therapy, and if things reoccur and past events relive on, or what do you reckon it is, my brother? What do you reckon it is?
I'm not sure what all that is. Now that deja vu thing you spoke about a minute ago, I've experienced that. You come into a situation or a circumstance and it just like, I've been here, I know what's getting ready to happen, and you totally know, you totally know, been there, had those moments. I don't discount those, but I'm not big on the ghost thing. And as far as that, I look at, you look at the Bible in Luke about the rich man and Lazarus the beggar. They both died. One woke up in hell, one woke up in Abram's bosom. Bible also states that where a tree falleth, there so shall it lay.
Yep.
Once you die, you die. If you die wrong outside of God, nobody gonna pray you back in. When you die, you die. That's it. Boom. And I know people have different views about what happens. Even in the Christian realm. See, we have a bunch that say no. You in the ground asleep until we get called up.
Yeah,
you have people that believe that. Exactly. I mean, that's, and like I said, that's even within our own. So, I mean, I just don't partake in all of the paranormal You know.
Yeah, I get that. But you know something? You've just said it there, of course. When a tree falls, that's it, we're dead.
Mhm.
In my eyes, because of past stuff that I've seen and felt documented over the years of doing paranormal investigations, with the equipment that I use and different things that have been brought up, it's crazy because you look at, okay, say for instance, tomorrow I die. Bang, I'm dead. That's it. If you can't move on because you've died, that's when, of course, people say normally there's your spirit is still on this earth roaming because you've got stuff that you need to sort out before you can cherish them golden gates opening up and God saying to you, "Come, my child, you're welcome." And this is the thing of that, and people do say this: if you're knocked down, for instance, bang, you're knocked down, and someone's killed you. Your soul's still here to haunt that person and different things, and it's a big thing. And like I've said to you guys before, there's a picture that was taken in the Victorian area at one of the pubs that my auntie ran, and in the picture was a small little boy. Now, this little boy's picture that was in it, he'd been dead 10 years, this little lad. He'd been knocked over by a horse and cart delivering beer. But on the picture, it had got this woman, the husband, the daughter, and the silhouette of the little boy's face. Now, of course, cameras, we know the old Polaroid cameras, they've been known to pick different images up because it's a different thing. Phones, okay, you change your settings, you can manipulate it, of course. We know you can manipulate things with technology, but you can't manipulate an old camera. You can't manipulate an old voice recorder that takes white noise and, of course, EMF, which, of course, is sound that's transmitted through white noise that's been brought up. There's different things, but you know something? I want to go down now the deja vu route, and then have we been here before? So, of course, don't know if you guys have seen the different pictures that were done, of course, of the different movie stars. And of course, they got one from the Victorian age, they got them from this age, that age, and it's supposed to be Tom Cruise has been here before, this guy's been here before, that guy's been here before. Do you reckon it's just a gene thing? There's, yeah, okay, it could be one of their relatives from the Victorian age that looks like them, and of course, 20 to 30 years later, of course, it gets seen again in, of course, the modern day era, and it's the same kind of person. Then, of course, we get to where we are now, and yet again, you see the same person. Do you reckon that's just a gene thing of it's, of course, passed from generation to generation of how you look? Because you look at your family, you look at your sons, your daughters, blah blah. My son's a spit at me, and my son looks. So people could say, "Oh, well, that's Gaz," but of course, it's my son. Different thing. So, what do you reckon it is? There's these pictures, of course, of different film stars and different, of course, sports stars and all the rest. Do you reckon they've been here before, like we say, the Twilight Zone, or do you reckon it's just modern day gene? It changes. So, Grumpy, I'm going to go with you first on this one.
What do most of those people have in common that you just talked about? They're all famous. A lot of them are Hollywood movie stars, you know, but they're all celebrity. They all have access, and that place ain't nothing but a clone factory, man. All they got to do just remake you. I mean,
Yep.
it's Hollywood, man. It's Hollywood. Ain't nothing out there real. Not even the people. Not even the people. I mean, come on. We've already got it out there about the whole mask, you know, and everything. You know, you can put the mask on and you're somebody different and you can't detect it and this and that. I mean, all that's already out there, man. They can't hide no more. They just remake another one. If they need another one, they just remake one. I mean, come on. It's easy for them.
Well, that's the thing. And I just want to, of course, put a shout out to the Leaf Cutters. So, of course, the Leaf Cutters are watching us on Instagram. So
What's up,
thank you,
guy?
and what they said on what the Leaf Cutters said on the whole thing of course, the camera, they blame the camera for dust for how, of course, them energies come up in different things. So, of course, we've got your take, Grumpers, about Hollywood, the cologne factory. Of course, we know we've got into this
Yeah, man.
quite a bit in different things. We've down that rabbit hole many a times, my brother, and it's got into some dark places. But let's go to Kate. So, Kate, what's your take on it, my brother? And then go down to Matthew, and then go to Jess.
I guess I relate to it on a smaller scale or a different scale, because when you talk about having these deja vu, for me, I could think probably 3 or 4 times in my life where I've had a feeling like that, and it's not anything that I can specifically really remember. It's kind of like a fleeting moment that happens, or a fleeting thought, and you try to grasp it, but you can't grasp it. So I guess that's when I talk about whether I believe in reincarnation or not. I guess that's what keeps me holding on maybe to the possibility of that, because is that something that I've experienced, when I was 400 years ago in another life, or I don't know. It probably sounds crazy to hear that, but that's what makes me think that maybe, and I truly think that it's a choice whether you want to come back or not, if that's what you believe. And that's the only thing that makes me think that is a minute possibility, because those, like I say, 3 or 4 times in my life, I've had that fleeting instance where, like, I remember this, or it's familiar to me. So, so I don't know past that. That's just based on my own experiences, and I don't know. It's interesting, and it's interesting to hear what you say on it too, Gaz, with your take on it as well.
We already know, Kate, that you've been here before. We already know you're the cigar squatch. So, of course, we already know that, my brother, that you've been here before. So you can admit it. We all know it, of course.
And that's and when you think about it, just kind of when you kind of joke about it, when you get up there, I mean, do you roll the dice and come back? Because who knows what you're going to come back as? What kind of life you're going to have. You may have a really hard life, or it may be, you may be a king or something, or a president. So you're rolling the dice, I think. So I don't know.
We already know what I'm coming back as. I'm coming back as that Mr. Luxury Tiger cigar reviewer. That's what I'm coming back as. You all know that. So rah. I'm coming back as the ginger grizzly bear. I'm coming back as one of them. So we know that. We do. But anyway, let's go down just to Matthew and get Matthew's take on this. So Matthew, deja vu, these past events, of course, of celebrities and different things that they look alike.
So,
what do you reckon, my brother, on this?
I'm going to have to take this in pieces. So, deja vu, I've always had, well, not always, but I've had a lot of times, I've had these really vivid dreams that just seem like nothing, like regular moments in time happening. And then, 6 months, year later, that exact moment happens. And I go, oh shit, This is about to happen. And it does. And, oh shit. Okay. What's important about this time? And then whatever thing happens, and it's like, oh, well, okay. So it was trying to get me ready for that. Wish I had known. And like, for instance, that happened the night before 9/11. I had this crazy dream where I was asleep on my buddy's couch and I got woken up by everybody in the room watching the TV. And I couldn't see what they were watching, but that's exactly what happened that morning. When that all was happening, they all filled the living room and woke me up, and I got up to watch the second plane hit. And that's sort of a very literal example of what I would call deja vu. So then, as far as the celebrity thing being reincarnated or they just look alike, I don't know. There's got to be a finite number of combinations of genetics out there, especially because the rich families don't tend to branch out all that much. Let's put it that way. I get the feeling it's just genetics, but I mean, it could, certainly somebody that was royalty back in the Middle Ages, could be distantly related to somebody who's super rich and famous now. So I think there's some real logic behind that. That's my
and we've just had a question that was from the leaf cutters. So bigger question is, if you're able to come back, is it because there's no more room in heaven and hell? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you guys to talk about this, man. I've just got to go and sort the dog. So I'll be back in a minute.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I think, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've always thought of deja vu as being something completely different. Just like, you smelled something that reminded you of something else, and you kind of relive the moment. I don't know, but deja vu is just a weird one to me. But the reincarnation and the cloning, if it's natural, I'm with Mike, and so many numbers of possible looks from DNA, that I think it does repeat maybe every couple thousand years or something, But clones, I believe there's also clones. I mean, they did.
We know there is. Joan Rivers cloned her dog.
Well, there's clones, right? And then there's also the newest thing that I've seen, because my wife is, in the medical industry, so we get all this news and updates and everything. And one of the newest things that they came out with is that they can now do a complete head transplant. Mm-hmm. So if there's a brain dead person, which obviously the body's still working because they have it on a machine, they can take their head from the dead person and put it on that other person. And now you still have your memories, your thoughts, your everything. You still look like you, and now but you just got a new body.
So
I don't know. Science gets a little scary sometimes.
Well, if we look at what Whiskey Chief just said, they've just had a report on the news a few weeks back that the genetic diversity in the USA is becoming very limited, and it will become a problem in the near future, they said. So that's...
I believe it.
It's weird when you look at it, and of course, what's everyone else take with what leaf cutters asked? Do you reckon it could be there's not enough room in heaven, and there's not enough room in hell, or do you reckon it's just one of them things where we might have been here before, we might be here again, and keep reliving different events? What do you reckon? Go on, Grump.
Well, lack of space won't ever be an issue in either place, because Jesus made it plain when he left. He went to make a place. He knows who's coming. He knows how many to accommodate. And you know, the sad thing is, the examples that you have in the Bible, it's only a 50% rate. I mean, you know, 10 virgins, 5 smart, 5 didn't make it. 2 in the field, 1 took, 1 left. 50% rate, man. That's sad.
Yeah.
Of course, I go back and tie that ribbon back to the, you know.
Yep.
I could tie that ribbon back to another conspiracy theory, but I won't do that.
What's your take? Good.
I think there's infinite amount of space in either place. But I just had a thought that came to me about the whole deja vu thing, and they say that we only use a very, very small percentage of our brain. Our brain has the capability to do way more. And I will give you an example. My wife, she has the ability to know, like, her kids are in other parts of the country, and we may not talk to them for a while or whatever, but she knows, and I've experienced this probably in the 14 years that we've been together, probably a dozen times, where she'll come to me and she says, something's going on with her daughter, something's going on with her son, you know, and she, and I don't know if that's the mother in her, but she knows. And then sure enough, 2-3 weeks later, and we get a phone call, something's happened, or, you know, they're going through this or whatever, but she can sense that. And I don't know if that's a motherly thing that's just with her, but she has a very high IQ. I mean, I married way above my space here. She's way smarter than I am. So she, for whatever reason, she has that ability, and it's only with her close family members that she can sense this. And it's been always very fascinating to me. So I think that kind of goes along the deja vu type thing, you know, and I know she's using a heck of a lot more of her brain than I am using of mine. So
I think the deja vu thing and what your wife goes through, I think those are just like really different things. Like I think once you're a mother and you have a certain bond, and you know, and really not even just mothers, because there's single fathers out there that, you know, they don't have the mother there to create the bond. You have to create the bond with them. So I think once that bond is there, it doesn't matter. I mean, you will get that feeling when something's wrong. You know, there's just no way around it. I mean, I think every mother goes through that.
I agree with you there, but her, I mean, like, just to be, and a lot of you guys know personally, like, her daughter's going through a lot of stuff, and we haven't spoken to her in a long time. But it's like next level. Like, she knows, without even having any information or having speaking to her for a while, she knows when something's going on, and almost to the point where it kind of freaks me out that she has the ability to know this, and it's right every single time, and it blows me away how she can do that. I get the mother, you know, the parent, the mother-child bond, but this is like something that's next level, you know. So I can't explain it.
I just want to go over, of course, Whiskey Tubes, what they've just built. I do believe that civilization was built up and society collapses. We started living again. And you look, of course, the bits in the Bible, of course, of how it was started with Adam and Eve. Of course, Adam and Eve ate the forbidden apple, and then basically it was restarted again. And of course, different events through the Bible different bits in it as we restarted. Every time it's like a restart of something. And I do think that, you know something, societies that we've seen around, of course, the Ming dynasty, that finished. Different bits in the ages, of course. Tudors, that was different. That collapsed, of course, it went to a different thing. There's loads around, but you know something? The weirdest thing that you guys have just brought up is, of course, we call it mother's intuition, don't we? When they know something's up with the child.
Yeah.
Me personally, like I've told you guys, and of course, you know I've got it tattooed on my arm, and I don't mind showing it, of course. And we all know there's, of course, Karibuki mask, the third eye. The third eye is believed we've all got a third eye. And basically, with our third eye, we have seen either past events or events to happen. And you look at some of the crazy things that I've said are going to happen. It's all come true, hasn't it? And everything I've said to you guys before, what's going to come true, come true. It's just, I think sometimes you look at it, and we probably have been here before, and sometimes I do believe is we may have a guardian angel that's looking after us, and that's there on our side, and they are telling us different things to keep an eye on. And of course, we just lost Jess, but hopefully Jess will be back in a minute. I think it's a unique conversation to have on that, and no one knows which way to go around it because there's that many different things. Of course, like we said, ghosts. We don't know if it's true, not true. Of course, you know my take on it. Of course, the whole thing of cloning and different things, I believe there's this cloning going on because you've only got to look at different things that we've seen, that have been around, that we've caught in media over the years and different things. Of course, what do you reckon on the whole thing of lizard people? You know, I was going to get on some crazy subjects tonight on this, down the rabbit hole. So, lizard people, what do you reckon on lizard people? Do you reckon is in power and in government and in different sectors of media and different things? Do you reckon there is lizard people? So, Matthew, do you reckon there's lizard people, my brother?
Oh boy.
Or do you reckon it's all bullshit?
Well, that's a good one. I guess from everything I've seen, which I watched a thing on, was it his channel that did a thing on lizard people? I thought that was really interesting, but I don't know if I believe it or not. I find it a very interesting concept. I do believe that there is some sort of, I don't know if I want to say, type of creature or something, but there's definitely something that seems to be controlling everything. And it ain't the people, So I don't know. I'm gonna say bullshit, as you said, but I'm willing to hear other people's takes on it.
So we'll go up to lizard people.
I'm not really sure. Not well versed in the reptilian realm there, but when I hear you talk about people in power and government and media and stuff, I mean, are you talking about stupid people or and someone's controlling them or what? I don't know, but it does baffle you that how some of these people can end up, that they're the voice, that they're giving us information or making decisions in all levels of government and media. So it does that does baffle me, but whether they're controlled by, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have that much information on it, but yeah, it makes you wonder what the heck's going on out there sometimes.
Well, before we go, of course, to Grumpy, Whiskey Tube's just commented on this as well. If there are lizard people and they are in charge of everything, why don't they make themselves known? I'm not saying that they are not real. This is the thing. You look at, of course, what was said about, and I hate talking ill will of the dead. But look at the Queen. The Queen, they said, because one of her eyes was different, the gestures of her hand and different things, there's either it was a clone or a lizard person. And they do say there's the royal family, especially here in the UK, it's lizard people. Now, I don't know. We've seen different documentaries, of course. We've seen documentaries on the History Channel. We've seen them on Discovery Channel. We've seen them all over, which, of course, Jesse's back. Must have sorted his technical issue out. But there is loads of different things that you look at. But what we'll do, we'll go with Grumpy's take on this with lizard people. And then, of course, we'll come back to you, Jess. So, Grump, lizard people, my brother, are they real or is it all bullshit?
Well, I will say that if you want to connect the dots to go back to all of that, it's going to connect to topics about things that we have agreed not to talk about during the conspiracy rabbit hole thing. See, so as far as that, it's a very it's a very good possibility. But that's a rabbit hole that you probably just really need to go down on your own, because, like I said, I'm limited at what I can mention in that, so I can't connect them dots for you. But I'll say it's a possibility. And I'm just one of those that's crazy enough to believe that God Himself is exposing some things for us to see. That can't be hidden anymore. I mean, things are coming to a boiling point all around us in 100 different directions, and the thing's got to blow, sooner or later. And when a lot of truth comes out about a lot of things, see that's why if the people knew that I mean, if these lizard people, if they exist and they expose themselves, that they're running the show.
Oh yeah, pandemonium.
What do you think? What do you think is going to ensue about 2 minutes after that announcement's made?
Yeah, don't we know?
Yeah.
Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Pandemonium. Let's go with Jesse's take on lizard people, my brother. So, real, fake, bullshit? What do you reckon?
I think that the ones who are controlling it, I don't think it has anything to do with lizard people. I think it's more demonic than anything else. Because if you look at it, what is the end result? All right, the beast controls the earth and whatnot, right? At the end of days. So I think that it's really just a demonic control, and I think that maybe in some way or another they just maybe look like lizards or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's more demonic than it is just lizard people.
Okay. So, what about, of course, wormholes? I know we went a little bit on it on the last podcast that we did down the rabbit hole. But what about wormholes? Do you reckon there is different wormholes to take us to different planes and also maybe fast travel? There's, say, for instance, there's a wormhole in Georgia. You jump in that wormhole in Georgia and you end up in Canada or New Mexico or England or France, do you reckon there is wormholes around that we can travel through, and we can either go to a different dimension, or they can get us to somewhere faster? Do you reckon that's true? Because, of course, there has been different media articles that have come out about wormholes. So, what's your take on this? So, I'm going to go with Kate on this one. So, Kate, what do you reckon?
Are you talking about wormholes in space, or just here on the Earth, or
on the Earth?
Yeah, I don't know about you all, but you all are making my brain work too hard tonight. I've had to light up a second cigar. My wife's favorite show is Outlander. Where they go up to the rock and they're gone. Back in time to another part of the world, and so and the only thing that I can say on that is back to my theory on Bigfoot, why no one can ever catch him or see him. Concrete evidence. He's passing back and forth into another dimension. So that's really about the only thing I can add to that. I think there is a possibility, but I think it's very limited, because otherwise you would be having more people experience it or talk about it. I know there's certain groups out there that speak on it and have passionate about it, but I can't rule it out, I guess.
Of course, we'll go to Grumpy.
He's got his hand up.
What was the question again?
Oh, jeez.
No, really.
Wormhole.
No,
Wormholes, brother.
No, man. No. What I want to say is my opinion of this about wormholes and all that. I don't know about all that wormhole thing. But now, back when you were mentioning before, talking about the third eye. Okay. Now, my thoughts, and of course, this is another one of those rabbit holes, but people can go down it if they want to. We won't go down it here tonight. But the way I see this, and I'll tie this together, but our third eye is our pineal gland in our brain.
Yep.
If that's functioning right, there's so much more that we could do if that's clicking on all 8 cylinders. But it's not, because we have been poisoned with different things over the years, strategically, might I add, to do this specifically, because aluminum, the micro aluminum particles, can penetrate the brain liner and get to the pineal gland. And that's one of the most deadly things to your pineal gland, along with glucophate, and there's another one. But that all lessens the function of that pineal gland, and that prevents us from a lot of the things that the mind should be able to do. And just to tie it together with my biblical thoughts on it, when after Jesus was resurrected and the disciples were gathered together and Jesus appeared to them,
Yep.
He didn't knock on no doors. He didn't open a door and walk through. He appeared to them. He transcended through the walls, through the doors, and the Bible tells us, we shall do greater things than He. So that's a whole, to me that the pineal gland and making sure that it's healthy and functioning, to me that's there's a word for that, essential, priority, something.
What's your take, Matthew, on this? What's your take?
Well, I've never really heard them referred to as wormholes, but I've heard them referred to as lots of different things, ley lines that connect between Easter Island and the Stonehenge and things like that, and those things can sort of work to connect you to other places and move you very quickly to them. I've also heard of holes in the space-time continuum, and those kind of things could maybe exist and work like you're describing. I would say I believe that it's possible. I don't know that it's like Kurt said. I don't know that it's common. Otherwise, you'd have a lot of people talking about how they accidentally ended up in fucking Egypt when they were in the desert, in the U.S. You know what I mean? Like I was walking down the street and I ended up in Africa, and I don't fucking get it. But is it possible? Absolutely. I think almost anything is possible.
Yeah. What's your take, Jess? What's your take on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's real. There's so many things out there that are completely unexplainable that you see, people that just disappear out of thin air, or a dog appeared out of nowhere, I saw a video once where there was a squirrel that came out of the ground, but there was no hole there. And just weird things. So, yeah, I think it's real. I think that's a real thing.
We all know where the squirrel came from. It came from the rabbit hole, my brother. Came out that rabbit hole. Of course. Oh, yeah. Go on,
I got an idea. I think we need to repeat this podcast next month, and we all get a shipment of magic mushrooms shipped to us. Gaz, you're gonna have to source your own over there because we can't ship them to you. But
I'm in Washington State, but I can go down to my smoke shop and buy some.
Holy shit! So we're gonna be seeing leprechauns, elephants, unicorns. Fucking hell. It's gonna be a good live, that one. Let's do it. Mushrooms alert. Mushrooms alert. Oh.
I think you'll know. I think you'll know when I'm on them because it'll be interesting.
Jeez.
It's not a bad idea, though. I've got to say.
We're not promoting drugs on this podcast. Whatever you do in your free time, it's up to you. But we're not promoting it. We're not.
Hey, listen here, okay? Listen here. Marijuana and mushrooms are very natural things. They're not drugs. Drugs, you got to put chemicals in it, water, baking soda. I don't know the recipe exactly, but
sure you don't.
Man, like I don't do drugs. I smoke dried leaves, and some are brown, some are green, and sometimes I like to eat mushrooms, and they're healthy.
I like mushrooms. I like mushrooms on my pizza, of course. Absolutely love mushrooms on my pizza.
You put them on whatever you want. I don't get it. You're still gonna see the same elephant no matter what.
Oh, jeez. You know something? This is why we do this.
I'll pass on that one.
To have this conversation,
you can be the moderator.
You know something,
Matthew, you can be the moderator after it kicks in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You almost made me spit Buffalo Trace out my nose.
What? Jeez, don't you be spitting Buffalo Trace? That's a waste.
You gotta have
I don't know if we're all ready for an 8-hour live though, because them trips last a minute.
Stuff that for a game of soldiers. Jeez.
Could you imagine us? We could all go on TikTok, live on TikTok
for 8 hours.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
Hey, you know something? Just imagine, right? we all take mushrooms next month, we could have the Cigar Loons trip. Our own trip. And it'd be on mushrooms.
Yeah. Be part of our
It's
trip
our own,
live on our podcast.
our very own birthday trip, and nobody had to leave the farm.
I know.
Oh my god.
Crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. But you know something? This is why we do this. This is why we talk about the topics, go down the rabbit hole, to have a laugh. Why, of course,
It's
we're
still
smoking a
flat.
cigar. And, oh, here we go. Okay, Grump, you've had your final say. Okay. But this is why we do it. And you know something? It's fun as we can get around here. And, of course, Whiskey Tube, of course, joining in the comments. Of course, the Leaf Cutters and everyone on Instagram. And
Yeah,
thank you
man.
to
Glad
people
y'all
that are
come
watching
by.
us.
Indeed.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
We
to
ain't
the
crazy
people
all the
that are
time.
watching us. Well, no. And thank you to the people, of course, on
Some of us
Rumble.
are.
Thank you, of course, to Anya Ramirez as well for joining us and watching. So, big shout out
Hello,
to Anya
Anya.
Ramirez.
Glad to see you.
But, of course, if you're enjoying what the Cigar Loons are putting together, by all means, on our YouTube channel, you can see clips of the shorts from all our different shows that we put together. Of course, you can catch all our podcasts on there when we go live, of course. Please like, please subscribe, but just keep hitting that like button, because the more like button that you hit on our posts, the more it gets out there for people to see. And we really appreciate that, because it's not about just us guys getting together, smoking cigars, having a laugh, and this is our chill out zone. It's about having these topics of conversations and bringing out different content for people to watch. Of course, talking about cigars, bringing the guests on and learning about their companies. Of course, we've got a lot of unique guests coming. I'm really excited for July. I'm excited for August, and I'm excited for September, because we are pulling out some real bangers. And of course, we were the number one podcast to start doing boutique cigars and talking about boutique and bringing boutique cigars on, which we're bringing more on. Of course, we've now got a number one podcast song, Cigar Loons. You can't beat that for a song, can you? You know something? I think we're going to have to get it as a downloadable version for people to download. And then they can play it to their heart's content and sing to it, can't they?
That sounds good.
Oh, yeah. Let's get out there. Let's be the number one song and number one podcast with the Cigar Loons. Oh, yeah.
Hey, one thing not to forget now. We do have Cigar Loons merch.
That's
And
right.
if you go to our website, www.cigarloons.com, you'll see buttons there that take you direct to the stuff. You ain't got to look and hunt. Takes you right to it. Guaranteed.
Yep, damn true. And of course, I want a big, massive shout out to GQTobacconist.com here in the UK.
Yes, sir.
Of course,
Hello, GQ.
reasonable prices are, of course, Cubans, New World cigars. Also, great prices on cigar lighters, cutters, and all your smoking products, and that's in the UK. And sorry, like I do say, they don't ship across the United States, which is a shame. But you know something? If you're in Scotland, Wales, and England, go and check out gqtobacconist.com. And when you buy from them, just hit up in the comments and say, "We found you by the Cigar Loons," of course. And then I want to put a big, massive shout out to our sponsor in the United States, which, of course, is Famous Smoke. So go and visit www.famoussmoke.com. And that's our, of course, sponsor out in the United States of America. You can go on our website. And Kurt, what's on our website? What's on our website? There's the Connect, my brother. And how can they save some money on their cigars?
There's a couple banners on there. You click on that. You go through that banner. It'll take you right into Famous Smoke. And you can save $20 on your order. So that's a plus. You know, we all have our favorite online. We all like to support our brick and mortars, but we all do buy from online, and that's just one avenue. But if you go through that link, it helps us out as well. But at the same time, you're saving $20 off your order, which can be significant when you're buying a box of cigars or you're stocking up.
And Jess,
That's
how
right.
can people, of course, join the Cigar Loons Discord? How can people join our Discord that we've got?
Oh, you can go ahead and go to our Instagrams or our Facebook, and we can always send you a link to our Discord and join in and just see what we have. We talk about randomly all day. Some things will make you laugh. Some things will make you go to the cigar store and buy a new cigar.
Yeah, and you can also, of course, go onto our website and you'll see Cigar Loons Discord. Click that button, and that'll direct you straight over, of course, to our Discord. And I think let's reveal, Grump, our new sponsor that's coming for the podcast. And they've been in talks to us, and they've now, of course, getting their website built, and their website's going to be out in November. So, of course, Grump, who's our new sponsor of the Cigar Loons podcast, my brother?
Who is our new sponsor?
Seriously, my brother? Oh, jeez. Where have you been? Have you still been asleep? Come on. So, of course, our new sponsor is Beards, Boots, Bourbon, and Cigars. And that's our new
Oh, that
sponsor
guy.
of the
Or
Cigar
those
Loons.
guys. Or them.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, of course, our new sponsor that's coming. And
Okay,
of course,
yes.
keep an eye out for their website. Their website will be active in November, and they're going to be talking about beard care, of course, bourbon, of course, boots, cigars, and many other things. And of course, you'll also see some product reviews on there of different products and different links to, of course, go and find that product. And also reviews on products for either Christmas, birthday, Father's Day, Mother's Day. And make sure to check that out, of course. And they are,
That's right.
of course, going to be a sponsor of us, and we are going to be supporting them. So make sure to check that out. But from us, you've had an hour and a half of us tonight. I think we've covered a lot of topics, guys, haven't we? So, Kate, what have you enjoyed about this podcast tonight and what we've spoken about tonight? What have you enjoyed?
It's like I said, my brain hurts after this one, so I got some contemplation to do after this one. But I just enjoy getting together with you guys. I enjoy these funny episodes like this where we can just go off topic and down some different avenues where you don't see a lot of people going. And I just hope everybody enjoys it. Like I say, if you come back next week, we won't have the tinfoil on our hats, and we'll be talking about cigars or whatever. But I really I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are my brothers, and I appreciate everyone that watches us. At the end of the day, this is what brings us together is the cigar here, and I'm just blessed to be a part of it. The flat Earth, I'm still wrapping my head around that. Like I said, I did quite a bit of research this week, and I just couldn't get there. But it was an interesting and enjoyable topic of conversation.
Yep. Grumpy, what about you? What have you enjoyed about this podcast this week, brother?
Well, I mean, I enjoy the fact that, I mean, when I come in these things like this, I'm not looking to, change the world's view or anything like that. I just toss things out there, that to think about, get people to think about it, get people to look at it, and as you guys saw, tonight, I was kind of outnumbered, and that's no big deal. We're all still brothers. We're all still friends, and we're going to still go right on being who we are. Just because we think different and got different opinions and views, we still getting together to have a cigar. just because they think I'm crazy, I don't care. They're stuck with me.
That's why we call Cigar Loons, my brother, because we're all a bit crazy. But Matthew,
That's right.
what have you enjoyed about this podcast, my brother, this week? What have you enjoyed?
Well, I love spending time with y'all, and I just think that this is what the world needs, and people having conversations where they disagree, and everybody's fucking okay with it, you know? And
Exactly.
That's right.
What we
You know?
need. This is what we need in our world, not so much, I'm right, you're wrong.
Exactly.
Just love being part of this, brothers.
Yeah, you don't see anybody storming off. We'll all be back next week.
Yeah. But you know what I said tonight? There ain't no bullshit, is there? And that's the thing. That's the magical word. There ain't no bullshit. But of course, Jess, what have you enjoyed this week about the podcast, my brother, with what we've been talking about?
Oh, I love talking about this stuff. I like everything from science fiction and science itself and all kinds of different things. So talking about these things with you guys, it doesn't give my wife a headache because I'm not talking to her about it.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Jeez.
But no, seriously, no, it's a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun, and like like you said, it's great to have differences with other people that can just have a conversation and not be all bickering about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And of course, you have been watching the Cigar Loons. We are the invaders of the cigar world. Stay long and prosper, my brothers and sisters, and may the force be with you. And stay happy, stay smoky, enjoy your cigars. Kate, come on, give us your scene. What you always say, my brother. Come on, give us your scene.
Smoke them if you got them. We'll see you next week.
Jess,
Yeehaw.
come on, give us your scene as well.
Keep him lit.
Grumpy, what's your scene, my brother?
If Jesus ain't driving your bus, pull over and get out of the driver's seat. Let him take the wheel. Appreciate y'all being here.
And Matthew, what would you say? Let's just get pissed.
Yeah.
Don't start none, won't be none. Cheers,
Hey.
everybody.
Well,
There you go, man.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. And of course, I'm going to play out the video that we started with. And of course, get that song in your head. You're going to enjoy it. Cigar Loons. We'll see you next week.
Cigar Loons Podcast. We are the invaders of the cigar world. Cigar Kurt, the front porch cowboy. There's a ginger grizzly bear with a super palate. Cigar Loons invaders of the cigar world. Grumpy preacher, the conspiracy theory expert. Cigar Loons Podcast, come and join us. Vitola and proof expert on all things spirits. Tobacco G, Stitch director of special operations. Cigar Loons Podcast. We are the invaders of the cigar world. Cigar Kurt, the front porch cowboy. There's a ginger grizzly bear with a super palate. Cigar Loons invaders of the cigar world. Preacher, the conspiracy theory expert. Cigar Loons Podcast, come and join us.
That is a jam. I can't laugh.
See you next week.